founded Minicore Studios in 2011, and we're really big fans of artfully crafted experiences. So narratives, characters, settings, all with really pretty art. For those who may not know, Laika was a real dog that the Soviets put into Sputnik 2 and shot into space. And sadly enough, she actually died in space because they had no way to bring her back.
It's a really sad story, and it really sticks in everybody's head. It never leaves you once you've heard it. Just the sad thing about it is, everybody has that sense of how trusting dogs are, but also how dependent and helpless they are on humans. And so what that kind of said to us, is, maybe in fiction, in our game, we can think of some way to make things right, but also maybe to even ask the player, what would making it right mean? Is it enough that she's still alive? How do you fix, the situation of what was done to her?
We had this idea of an alternate reality where Laika does not die in space, but instead returns to Earth with a robotic life form body to kind of investigate what happened to the Soviet Union while she was gone in space. And she returns to find a very different planet than how she left it. Laika Belives is a 2D action platformer, not too dissimilar from games like Cave Story or EG, and a cousin, I would say, of games like Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But the big difference is that we don't gate the player. It's not a thing where you have to get abilities to move to certain areas and shoot certain doors and things like that, but instead you're choosing the way you build out your character as you traverse these big interconnected levels.
We have a really robust weapon system that we've worked hard on designing. Give a lot of variety, ranging from your basic machine gun to our probably most exotic weapon, the lightning gun, which will chain between enemies as you zap them. It just gives you a lot of different offensive variety and lets you really attack enemies the way you want. Each of our weapons can also be upgraded individually or as their group, both ballistic and energy weapons. You can increase things like damage and rate of fire, but you can also, at the end of each tree, upgrade each weapon to a unique and special ability that really changes up the way that it works and takes it to the next level with its power.
The way Laika performs offense in the game is through a 360-degree aiming mechanic. It's a dual-stick game with a controller where you can use keyboard and mouse on PC. And how the 360-degree shooting works, you can either have total fidelity over what you aim at, or there's even an aim assist for those who may not be so great at games or want a more kind of exploration-heavy experience.
Laika is also equipped with a powerful shield that lets her take on a lot of the powerful enemies she's going to face. The shield itself actually is really timing centric and kind of tricky to get a handle on at first, but once you've got it down, it really changes the way you can deal with enemies and how powerful they are compared to you.
There's also a system in the game where you use raw nanomachines to build ammo packs, weapon packs, grenades, that kind of thing. And you'll be able to explore how efficient your nano capabilities are through the exploration utility tree.
It was important to us when we were, designing Laika Believes that the areas the player travels through feel really natural and organic and real and three-dimensional. And to that end, the mapping system that we've designed allows the player to actually travel and change direction in these environments in a way that lets us make the environments actually three-dimensional and kind of laid out like a real, base would be laid out.
The map system is also one of our upgradable systems, so you can expand its functionality to help you find hidden items and unlockable areas, hidden sectors of the game world as well.
In Laika Believes, you'll be exploring a fairly deep narrative, and in that narrative there are a lot of different characters giving you different quests. You'll be able to choose different options in the dialogue as well as choices you make during each quest that will affect later events. And while not all of those choices will have deep ripples in the grand scheme of things, each player will have a subtly different playthrough that you'll be able to discuss with your friends.
The dialogue flows and changes, and you get the sense of people who you talk to actually remembered how you felt and what you said, and that can kind of have a ripple effect on the way the game progresses.
In Laika Believes, both the narrative and the art style reflect a retro-futuristic kind of feel.
The original design for Laika's art style was really more of a standard retro pixel art style, which we still really love, but since the beginning of development 2 years ago, it's transformed into this really lush 2D hand-drawn style that we're really attached to.
The challenge was keeping a traditional platformer vibe while at the same time updating it and putting our own mark on it.
The combination of environmental elements, background and foreground animations really flesh out the world around Laika in a way that I haven't seen in a lot of other 2D action platformers.
I've been writing chip music for about 6 years. I started making Game Boy music under the name Sievert, and now I've moved on to a program called Piggy Tracker for PSP, which is what I'm using for the soundtrack. What I'm going for with the soundtrack for this game is I'm trying to combine elements from chiptune stuff like Sega and Game Boy and Nintendo, and combine that with acoustic sounds such as drum sounds and pianos, etc.
Laika Believes has been in development for about 2 years now, and while we've gotten this far with an initial fundraise, we need an extra chunk from you, our supporters, to finish the game. Coming to Kickstarter for our last push really enables us to start a conversation with our players about what goes into the game during the final stretch, as well as it allows us to finish those art and sound tweaks that we really need to make so the game will be perfect. We're asking for $100,000, which is a lot of money, but it goes directly toward finishing the art, sound, and gameplay tweaks we need to make to finish the game. Also, our Kickstarter raise will allow us to put the game on 4 different platforms at launch, including Windows PC, Xbox, Mac, and Linux. If we hit our initial raise and end up going past that with our stretch goals, that'll allow us to put the game on platforms like PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and Nintendo Wii U in a more timely manner. We're really excited about Laika Believes, and after you check out the rest of the page, we hope you're a fraction as excited as we are. So check out the rewards. Anything you can give to us would be a huge help, and we really appreciate your time and support. Thanks.